This is a continuation of a previous video on trying to get this old Craftsman Quantum engine mower running again after it being left out in the guy's yard. I mentioned that in the first video. I think I'm going to call this mower, since it's my first mower I've done this way, where it's a series of videos, it's going to be Alice. So we're going to repair Alice together. And I've done the things I usually do on these mowers when I get one in, is I check to make sure it has compression, and then I'm encouraged by that. Then I think, okay, I can save this thing, and I'm at the point where I think I can save this mower. So I check the compression by pulling the cord, and I feel it kick, bump, but I know it's got some. And I showed you how to get this little carb plate off of here that holds the air filter in place. And in my last video, I forgot to mention these screws that come out. Those are 5/16 sockets. That's what I use. I don't do millimeters, 5/16. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to get this carburetor off. And you're going to learn how to do it my way, which involves, not trying to take it off here and pinching hoses and all that stuff. We're gonna take this off, and I do this with the modern ones too. I take this off as a unit. I take the tank and the carburetor off as a unit, and that way I can drain the fuel back into the tank as much as I can. But first we got to get this off, and this is this Phillips head screws, what they call the vanity cover. Put these in my magnetic dish over there. So I got those out. We'll slip this off here and see how many spiders and scorpions we have under it. Okay, not too bad. Keep that out of the way. And now we go back to our 5/16 again socket. I like to use a power drill for that. And we're going to loosen these. All right, get it started. Let that one just sit there. Get this one loose. Let that sit there. This one loose. Let that sit there. Now you get your magnet on the stick, and that is right there. And you get those off. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now this tank will slip back. And I do like to loosen this, and I do that with a 3/8 socket. I'm gonna do maybe a couple of turns. I don't necessarily want to take it off just yet. Let me get that off. Been on there a while, so there's a couple of turns. So now it's a little more slippery. Okay, and so now we go back to our 5/16 socket, and we're gonna remove the little screw that holds the dipstick in place, because I want to swing that out to the side to get the rewinder off. Got that one loose. Get the magnet on the stick, set it in the dish. Now I'm going to go around to the other side and swing this out of the way. I like to carry the old toothbrush with me and clean the gack away from the bottom of this dipstick too, because I don't want that falling into my crankcase when I move this piece out of the way. All right, so I'm going to pull up slightly on this dipstick too. Get it, come out. Enough. All right, there we go. And now we swing it. We swing it around. Okay. Let's clean a little more around there. Okay, so here's your dipstick tube. That's what it looks like, but we're gonna put it back in. You can see it's got oil on it, so that's already push side. Right, so now it's out of the way, so we can get this rewinder off. Now I'm going to go ahead and you're saying, well, why do you do that? Okay, why are you bothered to take the rewinder off when you're moving the car? Because the automatic governor linkage wants to hold on to that carburetor, and I've tried to get them off without taking this off. And sometimes you'll break that throttle because it's just made out of plastic. And so we're gonna get this rewinder off. And we are going to do that by using a 3/8 socket with an extension on it. Get down there and grab this screw, and of course it got caught, and then we'll get this one over here. Just want to get these started, and then I'll use my power drill. Get these two in the front. Get them started. Okay. Maybe switch to power. Just let those screws fall down there on the deck. If that's what they want to do, no problem. All right, that one stayed. I'm going to get the two in the front out. Out. Now, this rewinder will lift. Sometimes it's hard to get off, and that's because of this this piece in the front that holds the throttle spring is kind of touching the very front of this, and you may have to get your screwdriver or something to give you a little space, but I'm thinking it'll come off. Back and forth. Yeah, I'll go ahead and show you. So it's grabbing it pretty good. So I'm going to get the screwdriver and just bend that just a little. Okay, and that should come up. All right, so there's that. And I don't see too many black widows or wasp nests up there. And so now that we got this out of the way, I'm going to release the pull cord and get it to come down through there, and you'll see why I'm doing that, because right now it's snagging everything up. Okay, maybe a little harder than I thought, but it's going to take a 7/16 socket to get that pull cord loose up there where it's holding it in. That's the wrong one. Here's 7/16. And this is what I'm doing right here. You can see that. I got to remove this in order to free up that pull cord. Put that back where I was working. Just so you know what I'm doing, so I'm going to get this off of here. Almost got it. Almost. Okay, now I can loosen it with my fingers. Okay, put this little nut back on there so we don't lose that. And then we're going to run this through here. That whole little operation there. So that whole thing comes out. So we're going to set this aside. All right. So now we're going to take this and pull it through there. Okay, so now there's nothing holding that on if I want to do anything with it. And the rewinder is totally off. And that's what you want. because now what we're going to do is you're going to remove this tank and this carburetor as a unit. So let's get it going. I'm going to get this 3/8 screw out. Okay. And see, I'm not having to pinch any fuel lines or worry about any of that, leaks, anything. So that's loose. And now I'm putting the 3/8 up here on the screws that hold the carburetor in. I like to use an extension on this. And if you may find your hose clamp is kind of in the way. If it is, try to push those little prongs down so they're not in your way, okay? So now we're gonna get that thing going, get it started, and then we'll do the wrench again, or the power drill. Okay, so got it started. Now we're gonna get this carburetor off of here. Get those two screws out. And now, oops, let's see. I think I bumped my camera. Now, use my magnet on the stick, and these look like the other 3/8, but they're not. They have a little base at the bottom that looks different than the regular screws, and that's the ones that hold your carburetor on. So you're going to set those aside. That's how you can tell them apart when everything's laying in a bowl there. Okay, so now you'll see the reason I took that rewinder off is because now I can take this whole unit and easily tilt it and get this thing off without breaking that plastic piece by trying to do it when all this is attached, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and loosen this throttle spring by pushing it through this way. You can also loosen it from the other end. So that is no longer involved with that carburetor. So it's just loose now. Okay, so now you can swing this whole thing around, and then you want it to drop a little so it doesn't break, okay? The other thing I like to do, let me do that now, is put a drop of oil right there, right? See, hang on a second. I'm gonna put a drop of oil right there so it slides in and out easy and also doesn't run a risk of breakage. So let me put a little drop of oil there. There we go. Okay, now let me put my camera back. Now this guy should really, and see, you're turning the whole thing. That way you're not binding that little plastic throttle, okay? So now this thing will just come right off, okay? So you've got this off as a unit. It's easier to deal with that way. Okay, so we're gonna stop this video now of bringing Alice back to life, because we've got the carburetor off. I don't want these videos to run too long, so stay tuned, subscribe, and the next video is gonna be on getting this checking the carburetor out, and we're gonna also remove the nut that holds the flywheel on, and make sure that over the life of this mower, nobody's hit it so hard that they've sheared the flywheel key. So we're going to check that while this cover is off. Okay, stay tuned.